But Kenpachi just smiles, unfazed, and in a final move, slices Gerard cleanly in half from the head down. Gerard's face splits, and his body crashes to the ground, destroying nearby buildings. Kenpachi stands beside his bloody remains, victorious and surrounded by the aftermath of their fierce battle. As Toshiro cautiously approaches Kenpachi, Byakuya halts him. Toshiro mutters, "Do you think? No, it's best not to get too close." Byakuya nods. He's clearly even less receptive to communication than usual. They watch as Kenpachi's eyes burn with a wild fury. Suddenly, he jumps into the air, letting out a thunderous roar, while Toshiro stares in shock. In that moment, Gerard uses his shrift power, regenerating as his body begins to reattach itself. Toshiro and Byakuya look on in astonishment as Gerard's broken parts meld back together. Moments later, Gerard stands, now in a more powerful, updated form with a grotesque face and a new sword. Gerard smirks, launching a massive attack that shatters the surrounding buildings. Toshiro quickly freezes the falling debris to prevent further destruction. Standing tall, Gerard declares, "I am the most tenacious of God's soldiers. Even in death, I continue to swing my sword for him." He charges toward Kenpachi, who simply grins, awaiting the attack. But Gerard's speed is overwhelming, slicing off Kenpachi's hand. Yachiru, watching from the sidelines, is alarmed. She whispers, "I'm sorry, Ken-chan. It seems I unleashed too much of your power. Your body can't handle it." Gerard strikes Kenpachi again, knocking him to the ground, blood pouring from his wounds. Gerard sneers, "Still breathing, are you?" He raises his weapon for another strike, but Toshiro intervenes, attempting to block the attack. Gerard, however, easily swats Toshiro aside. Byakuya urges, "Toshiro, disengage your Bankai. You're at your limit." Toshiro, defiant, replies, "Not yet. Who said my Bankai ends when all the ice flowers fall?" As the last ice petals drop, Toshiro undergoes a transformation, no longer looking like a boy but a grown man in his full, true Bankai form. He mutters, "When Daiguren Hyorinmaru is complete, I grow older. I'm not fond of this look, but it's necessary." Gerard, stunned, asks, "Who are you?" Toshiro responds with his full name, leaving Gerard baffled. "Is this a second Bankai? But it matters not." Gerard unleashes another furious attack, declaring, "Now you shall be a more worthy opponent." Gerard hurls his shield at Toshiro, but Toshiro freezes it mid-flight, warning, "Don't be throwing that huge thing around. I told you we can't let anything fall." Gerard retaliates with his sword, but Toshiro instantly freezes it. Gerard sneers, "Have you forgotten? Damaging?" His words cut short as Toshiro calmly explains, "When frozen, all matter ceases to function." Gerard's sword is immobilized, rendered harmless, as Toshiro states, "Your so-called weapon is worthless now." In defiance, Gerard summons a final torrent of power with his hand alone, vowing, "I shall crush you with a force beyond mortal comprehension." Toshiro smirks. A Quincy bow, this late in the game? Before Gerard can release his attack, Toshiro freezes him entirely, utilizing the full force of Daiguren Hyorinmaru, immobilizing every part of Gerard's body. He concludes, "If you'd fired that arrow with more than 3 paces to spare, you might have stood a chance." Gerard remains frozen, defeated, as Toshiro stands victorious. As Toshiro catches his breath, Gerard suddenly shatters the ice surrounding him and grabs Toshiro with one massive hand. Toshiro's eyes widen as Gerard sneers, "I will not freeze. I am a soldier of God, beyond the constraints of this world's elements. I will crush you with my own hands." Gerard raises his other hand for a devastating blow, but suddenly he staggers. Kenpachi has struck his leg with full force, tearing through flesh with a feral grin. Covered in blood but filled with raw energy, Kenpachi grips Gerard's leg tightly, keeping him anchored. Gerard roars in anger, "Zaraki! My foot! How dare you!" Despite his grip on Toshiro, Gerard can't ignore Kenpachi's relentless assault. Meanwhile, Toshiro, pinned but undeterred, taunts, "Do you think you could touch me without consequence?" Gerard growls, "I told you, Shinigami, I will not freeze." But before he can act, he notices glinting blades forming around him in the air. Byakuya steps forward, his eyes cold and focused, as he releases his Bankai, Senbonzakura Kageyoshi. Thousands of sword petals swirl around, targeting Gerard from every angle. In a whirlwind of razor-sharp steel, the petals crash down upon him. Kenpachi holds Gerard firmly, preventing any escape, as Byakuya's deadly technique envelops them both in a storm of energy. With each petal strike, Gerard's body begins to freeze over, cracks forming as Toshiro's ice seeps deeper into him. A final surge of energy erupts, and Gerard's body fractures, his once mighty form shattering into countless frozen shards. The fragments fall to the ground, scattering across the battlefield. Toshiro, now visibly exhausted, starts to collapse, but Byakuya catches him, remarking, "It seems Bankai does take a toll, yet you've held up better than I expected." Toshiro breathes heavily. "You're perceptive. I'm barely at my limit." But their relief is short-lived. The air around them crackles with energy as they sense an ominous force coalescing. To their shock, the fragments of Gerard's body begin to gather and fuse, forming a swirling mass of yellow lightning. Slowly, the energy reshapes itself into Gerard's new form, a being pulsating with electrifying power. However, the ending takes a weird turn. The battle concludes abruptly, and we shift to Ichigo's fight, where Yhwach simply takes away Gerard's power for his own purposes. Ultimately, the battle comes to a close, but we will surely get answers in the manga. If you have any other video ideas, feel free to share them, and I'll create a video for my subscribers. Goodbye.